Hello, and welcome to another everyday English lesson right here on English Outside the Box. If you're brand new and this is the first lesson you've ever watched, then welcome. My name is Jennifer Nascimento, and I teach English right here on YouTube, on my website, and for English Outside the Box. English Outside the Box helps you learn, master, and improve your everyday English skills. These are skills that you need to live comfortably and live more confidently in English day to day. So if you are just joining me live, if you're watching this live video lesson, then you are in luck, because that means you get to practice and participate in this lesson like we were together in a classroom. So if you're watching live, let me know that you're here in the chat. Say hello. Tell me where you're from. Today, we're talking about the present perfect tense. Now, if you live in a country that you need English, if you live, if you work, if you travel, if you need English in your day-to-day life, then you absolutely need the present perfect tense. The present perfect tense and the present perfect progressive tense, both of those, they are incredibly common and used a lot in English. Unfortunately, it's also one of the most challenging tenses that many students often have questions about, have confusions about, and hopefully today we can clear up some of those confusions, some of those questions, because I want to tell you how to use it naturally. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be telling you a little bit about what I've been doing lately. I'm going to be showing you how much I use the present perfect and the present perfect continuous when I'm just telling you about what I've been doing. And then we're going to break down the sentences and analyze them a little bit so you can begin to understand why I use the present perfect. So by hearing me use the language naturally, by having me analyze and explain how and why we use them, hopefully you too will be able to use them in your conversations and in your own day-to-day life. All right, so keep saying hello in the chat. Keep trying to use sentences naturally. And if there's questions, I'll get to questions at the end of this lesson. But I do see you saying hello, and we will review everything in the end. So I haven't done a live lesson in over a week because I've been so busy. Now, I haven't done a lesson, but that doesn't mean I haven't been teaching English. I've been so busy working on material and content for English Across the Pond, my podcast. I've been creating content for my fluency training program, the Conversation Club. And personally, I've been adjusting to the time change. So the time changed recently here. The time has changed. And it changed about 8 days ago, I think. So it has recently changed, and it changed about 8 days ago on the 5th. So my family and I have been adjusting to the time change, trying to adjust to the new schedule. Now, some of you may know that I have a very small baby, and he's learning how to sleep. He's learning how to live, really. And so we've been trying to help him sleep on a more consistent basis. I've just put him down for a nap, so he's sleeping now, which gives me the opportunity to tell you about the present perfect tense. So in that short little description about what I've been doing lately, you've heard a few sentences with the present perfect and the present perfect progressive. Now, I could continue, and I could continue giving loads of examples, but we don't want to get overwhelmed. Remember, this tense can be quite confusing. So let's look at some of the sentences that I said. I said, I've been busy. We have been adjusting to the new schedule. I haven't done a lesson. I've been working on materials. I've been creating content. I've just put my son down to sleep. The time has recently changed. So those are some examples of the present perfect and the present perfect progressive tense that I used naturally in that small paragraph explaining what I've been doing lately. Now, if you're watching live, you can get all the information I'm teaching you right now, and then you can go back, review the lesson, and listen again how I use those sentences in the conversation. I told you I've been busy. I've been busy. When we look at that sentence, the main thing we need to identify is the main verb. The main verb in the sentence, I've been busy, is the verb to be. I've been busy. I have been busy. The main verb is to be. To be, as you know, as you will know if you didn't, is a stative verb, which means it's a non-action verb. Stative verbs, like the verb to be, cannot be in the progressive tense. It cannot be in the ing tense. Now, if you're watching this video replay, I'm going to include a link up here to help you understand more about the stative and non-action verbs. But no, I do have a video about that on my YouTube, so you can search for it or come back later and look for the link up here. So stative non-action verbs can never be in the ing form, which means it cannot be in the present perfect progressive. So we use stative verbs like the verb to be in the present perfect form to talk about actions that started in the past and still continue today. I've been busy. I am busy today. I was busy yesterday. I was busy last week. I've been busy. That action of being busy started in the past and it's still continuing right now. But because it's a stative or a non-action verb, it cannot be in the ing progressive form. So these stative or non-action verbs are used in the present perfect to say that an action started in the past and it still is continuing today, like I've been busy. We also have action verbs. Action verbs. These are verbs that you commonly know. So I've been creating, I've been making, I've been adjusting. All of these main verbs, make, create, adjust, these are all in the present perfect progressive form. Notice these main verbs were in the ing. I've been making, I've been creating, I've been adjusting. Because we use action verbs in the present perfect progressive form to say that an action started in the past and is still continuing today. So that one difference between action and non-action verbs is something you need to understand to really be able to use the present perfect tenses more accurately and more naturally. So the time changed, I said, about 8 days ago. So 8 days ago until now, I've been adjusting. My family and I, we have been adjusting because we haven't quite adjusted yet. We're still doing that action. So it started in the past. It's still continuing today. We've been adjusting to the new time schedule. So again, actions that started in the past and still continue that are action verbs use the present perfect progressive. I said that I've been creating content for my podcast, English Across the Pond. I've been making and creating materials for my fluency training program, the Conversation Club, because I do this. I created it in the past and I'm still creating material. Both of these things, the Conversation Club and my podcast, give members new material every week. So every week I'm creating new material. I did it in the past and I'm still doing it today, and I'll be doing it in the future as well. So again, connecting a past action to the present when something started in the past and is still continuing today, we use the present perfect progressive forms when they're action verbs. I've been creating content, I've been making materials, I've been adjusting to the podcast, or I've been adjusting to the schedule. Now, a difference I want to tell you, I said the time has recently changed. The time has recently changed. The time changed here in the US. The time has recently changed. It changed on November 5th. So I want to analyze and break down that difference. We often use the present perfect has or have in the past participle, like the time has changed. We often use the present perfect to talk about actions that have recently been finished or been done. However, it's really important to know that these actions can never have a time expression. We never can say when it finished or when it was done, because the present perfect can never have time expressions in the past. So I said the time has recently changed. The time has recently changed. The present perfect to say that the time changed recently, that action recently happened. I gave more details about it. I said when using the simple past. It changed over a week ago. It changed on November 5th. So we often use the present perfect to talk about actions that have recently happened, but with no time expressions. Another example I used with this was talking about my son going to sleep. I have just put him to sleep. I have just put him down to take a nap. I have just put him down to sleep. So, just, recently, these are key words that tell you you can use the present perfect tense to say that an action was recently done or completed. Remember, in these examples, you can never use a time expression. If you want to use a time expression, you have to use the simple past. The time has recently changed. It changed on November 5th. I have recently put my son down for a nap. He went to sleep 30 minutes ago. Got it? All right. So again, if you're just joining this live lesson, then we're talking about how to use the present perfect tense and the present perfect progressive tense much, much more naturally. In the very beginning of this video, in the very beginning of this lesson, I told you about what I've been doing recently and why I haven't done a lesson in over a week. So I showed you how to use the present perfect and the present perfect progressive more naturally in a very small paragraph telling you about what I've been doing. So if you're joining the live lesson late, when you finish, make sure you go back and you listen to those sentences naturally in context again. So what else? Did I say any other sentences? If you're watching live, do you remember any other sentences that I used in the present perfect or the present perfect progressive that you would like an explanation about? I would also love to open up the end of this lesson for questions, but please let's keep questions about the present perfect or the present perfect progressive so we can stay on topic. So this can be a very clear, a very easy to understand lesson about the present perfect. So if you're watching live, let me know about your questions. If you're watching the replay, you can still answer questions, or you can still ask questions in the comments. And if you're watching this lesson later on YouTube, then show your love, practice your English, and engage with this lesson by writing comments below the video. Write comments below the video using the present perfect and the present perfect progressive, utilizing the rules that I gave in this lesson. So, can you write a sentence example telling me about something that started in the past and is still continuing today? I want 2 examples for this. I want one example of a stative verb in the present perfect, and I want another example of an action verb in the present perfect progressive. I also want you to practice writing an example of telling me about something that you have just done or something you have recently completed. Use the words like recently or just to indicate an action that happened very close to now using the present perfect tense. All right. I've been in Canada for 3 years. Awesome. Perfect example using the stative verb to be, saying that something has been happening for a period of time. So it's very important that we can also use words like for or since with the present perfect and the present perfect progressive to show how long an action has been happening. And I have been studying English for 3 years. Make sure you have an S on the end of that years. Perfect. So with both of these examples, we have 3 years, right? So 2017 is the year now. 3 years ago was 2014. So what we can say is I've been studying English since 2014. I've been in Canada since 2014. Now, this is the only way that you can indicate a time expression with the present perfect or the present perfect progressive is using for or since, and since is going to indicate the past time. Maybe you just heard that motorcycle. I've been watching English Outside the Box for the last 10 minutes. Awesome, David. Great example. I've been watching. Watch is an action verb. Good. I've been learning English all day. Khalid, perfect. Learn is an action verb. I think I've just heard my son making some noise in his crib. I think he has just woken up. And again, 2 more examples of an action that has recently been completed around the present. I've just heard my son. He's just woken up. So it's time for me to end this lesson. I hope you enjoyed learning English more naturally with me and learning how you can use the present perfect and the present perfect progressive tense more confidently, more accurately, and more naturally. So again, I invite you to practice what you've learned here today. Comment below this video creating some sentence examples utilizing the rules we talked about. If you loved this lesson, then make sure you subscribe for more. And of course, don't forget to share with your favorite person learning English. I think they will say thank you for it. Until next time, I will see you soon. I hope you enjoyed this lesson with English Outside the Box, and happy studying. Bye-bye.